Morning. Kind of at the harder part of my hike, and I wanted to talk about being scared, fear. It's a theme in my life. Realize that a lot of I'm being shown where in my life I'm not free. And so I'm trying to address those areas, become free in those areas. One of the ways, metaphorically, that I'm kind of dealing with this is going out into the ocean. And I'm shadowing a free diver named Aaron, who is an ocean-to-table chef that dives and catches the food straight out of the ocean and then comes and cooks it for you and creates this amazing experience. I have learned so much from this man, not only about the ocean, but how to live your life, being true to yourself, and living love in every moment. Because every time that he goes out into the ocean, there's the chance that he will not come back home. And he has a woman and a beautiful, wild-spirited little boy, 6 years old, who's incredible. I've had the opportunity to meet all of them and see them interact. And so I'm literally going to dedicate a whole episode to talking about what I've learned from Aaron. Louisiana boy has, I know his image of himself is much different than what I've observed, but he addresses his fears head on and does all this crazy adventurous shit, risks his life for his living, but it's true to himself. And so maybe that's this episode, maybe not. I think I'm just gonna talk about fear in general. And yeah, there's mangoes here. I need to pick some up. Not here. And so, in dealing with the ocean yesterday, something I've been scared of for a while now are sea urchins, the black and red ones. I don't know if you've ever seen a sea urchin, but they're the really spiky things. And I'm not sure if they could be toxic or not, but I know that they hurt. They'll go through your fins, they'll go through your shoes. If you have water shoes, they don't really necessarily respect a boundary that you put in between you and the sea urchin. And I'm trying to clean my goggles before I was going on the dive. I fell in a hole and stepped on an urchin with my heels, with my right heel, and it hurt. And I was like, shit. And then I had to try to put a fin over that. If you ever put a fin on, you know that it's like puts a lot of pressure right there over your heel. So I stepped on the urchin, and then getting in the water, if you've ever dove with fins, you know that you can't walk in the water with the fins on. You have to walk backwards. And you have to walk backwards through like some sketchy, coral terrain area on the beach. And where it got really shallow, I ended up kind of sitting down. But before I was to sit down, Aaron was like, don't sit down. As I was sitting down, I sat on some sea urchins. Let me turn this shit off. I sat on some sea urchins, and that didn't feel good either, but it happened. And in that moment, I could have said, well, I don't know what's going to happen with this pain. Am I getting some neurotoxin that's going to make me like seize up? Am I going to like not be able to swim? All these thoughts in my head. And urchins have been built up in my head because of stories from other people, right? I've heard so many other stories about urchins hurting and through their foot and infections and all this shit. And so I decided to do the dive anyway. And the waters were rough. The waters were murkier than they were before. And I definitely felt some serious fear and panic at certain moments in the dive where Aaron disappeared into some caves and didn't come back up for longer than I thought would be safe or normal, only to have him pop up somewhere else. Freaked me out. But what I learned through this is that, you know, what you fear, this thing that I fear, these urchins, now that I've experienced the urchins, you know, it hurts. I'm hiking with pieces of urchin in my foot, in my heel, and it doesn't feel good at all. But now that I know what it's like, I'm not so scared of it anymore, right? I don't have to be so mortified of urchins because I know what they feel like. I know what it's like to get hit by one or hit by multiples. And so I feel like that's true in life. Every time I'm getting in this water, I'm addressing some of my fears and feeling less and less scared. And it's helping me to step into my life better at a higher level. I'm picking mangoes right now off the ground. And we build up these fears so much, right? We build up all of this fear about whatever it is that we fear, and really almost as if the fear is worse than the thing that you're scared of, right? Because now I know what urchins feel like, and okay, I can still hike, and I didn't die, I didn't drown, you know, I'm okay, I'm alive. These are not good. And so I think about that. Where else in my life am I really scared of things that, you know, maybe I could look back and say, well, you've already experienced this. You know, for example, in my relationships, you know, I've often talked about core wound being abandonment and all that comes with that. But I've already been abandoned before. You know, I've already been cheated on, I've already been betrayed, I've already been hurt. I've already been all these things that I'm like so worried about. And so what's really the point of letting or living from that place of fear if you already know what it's going to be like, or you've already experienced it? Yes, you don't want to feel it again, but it's not going to kill you. And really how we react and how we show up in accordance to our fear often causes things in our lives, right? So just for example, like for me, you know, when I'm feeling anxious and fearful and things like that, I tend to interact and show up and say and do things with my partner that, you know, would trigger her and push her away and cause more of that abandonment feeling. And so it's like this fear is literally guiding my life. I am being led by fear in so many areas of my life, to include showing up in my bigness, to be my full expression. I'm scared to be seen, to be viewed in my who I am in full, which is really what I want and what most people want, a lot of people want. But I'm letting fear prevent me from showing up the way that I could if I didn't have this fear. And so I'm in this mastermind, I'm in this container with 50 other brave human beings and coaches, and we're all committed to showing up and allowing our bigness to be seen. And so I'm just here wanting to share what I'm going through in real time, because it's in me to give, it's in me to share, and I can no longer hide. I can't hide anymore from myself, from the bigness of my dreams and desires. You know, I'm being challenged to put myself in voluntary discomfort For 2 months, I kind of laid in bed. I didn't want to get up and come do this hike, even though I got so much out of it. I don't know what I was scared of. What was I scared of? What was I doing? But needless to say, 2 months I sat around and let my life spiral, kind of, you know? Things got out of control. Things felt out of control. But everything's happening for me. And I'm just grateful to have the people that are in my life, the examples that I have in this mastermind, other people in my life. Whereas a lot of people never even are able to address any of these things because there's no one there to challenge them. There's no one there to hold up the mirror. There's no one there to present the awareness. And I am really grateful and glad that I have this. I have an abundance of this. The next thing that I'm really terrified of, really scared of, is going on a night dive. This is something that I've always said I would never do. This is something that I've always, I feel mortified even at the thought. But because of what I'm going through in my life and where I'm at and the container that I'm in with these people, and knowing that if I don't do this, that I'm going to remain stuck in my life, that I'm not going to get to my next level, because I can't let fear stop me from doing something like this that I know I need to do, and that I'm going to face my fear of the dark. And I don't know if this mango's good. I'm gonna leave that one. I'm gonna face my fear of the dark ocean. And let me tell you, I don't know if you've ever seen a night dive, but you can't see anything except for where your light's pointed. And sometimes, and to me, it's like the ultimate unknown. I'm not in my own environment. There's things in that water that could take my life from me. There's just so many different things that can go wrong, right? You can't see at night. It's like wild. And as much as I don't want to do it, as much as I feel like I could just shrink and run away, I know I can't lie to myself. I know I have to do it. And I don't know what that is. Maybe it's the encouragement from others. Maybe it's just being sick of being stuck. It's being tired of living and being guided by fear. But the thing that you are most scared of, the place in which you want to avoid, is the place that is holding you back. And that feeling of resistance of like, well, I don't want to do the work. I don't want to do that. I don't feel like I have the capacity to do that thing. Those are all ways that your mind is trying to keep you safe, but also keeping you grounded. And not grounded in the good way, grounded as in you can't fly, you can't soar, you're not free in those areas. And so I'm not saying go dive at night and do crazy shit like I'm talking about doing, but I am saying to consider the awareness and be aware of where are you scared, where are you still not willing to look at or address, what are you putting off, because that's where your freedom is. Not where all the attention that you're putting, thinking you're, I'm making all this progress here and there. It's like you can't escape, you can't go further than your anchor. And so you're chained down by that fear. And so wherever you're not free, you're being led by fear. Wherever you're fearful, there's no love there, right? You're not being led by love. And my whole goal with any of this shit is to embody love and be love and live love versus fear, and be guided from that place, and to step into my full expression and my bigness. I love that word, bigness, because there is this giant that has always lived inside of me, and I've let tiny things that seem insurmountable, because they're amplified by fear, to prevent me from going there. And I'm committed to this next level of myself, and showing up and being there and sharing and being vulnerable and telling the truth, the radical truth in my life. And yeah, that's what I had to share for today. I hope something I said can resonate or help you in some way. I know that looking at these things and dealing with fears and all this shit is so uncomfortable. It's so uncomfortable. And I'm working through it a step at a time, a breath at a time, a dive at a time, a day at a time. And I'm just grateful for all of you who listen and share and give me feedback and encourage me and send me words of affirmation and all of that. Tell me how what I said affected you. I know that there's something to this sharing, and I know I have a voice and a story that I need to share, and I'm just working it out, and you can too. Anyway, big blessings and love. Peace.